We're here back at the Fantasy Bar for the first time ever, a Week 18 six-pack, 6 of my favorite plays on Fanduel and Draftkings, and we're doing it big. We're going happy hour. Nobody over 6,500 on Draftkings. Everybody under 8K on Fanduel. Who are we talking about? Belly up to the Fantasy Bar and find out. Welcome in, guys, to an historic Week 18 edition Beers Daily Fantasy Six-Pack. Doing these videos a long time. Have never done a Week 18 video. Obviously, first time ever in NFL history. We are glad to be back here covering it. Welcome in to the Fantasy Bar. Now, before we get into the plays for Week 18, let's take care of some housekeeping. Make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up button on YouTube. Guys have been doing an amazing job of that all season long. I greatly appreciate it. So smash that like button, as the kids say these days. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We got a ton of videos. This one, a Yahoo video covering Week 18, a sports betting video with 2 of my favorite NFL bets each and every week, and of course, some NBA videos as well. So hit that subscribe button. Also, head over to scoresandodds.com/beer for everything sports betting. Go and check it out today. Tons of information, analytics, trends, histories, compare odds across all the different sports books and premium picks in all of the major sports. Scoresandodds.com/beer. All right, let's get into the plays here for Week 18. Again, we're going happy hour style, saving you some money, making life easy on those lineup builds. So let's start in the mid-range at the running back position with Devin Singletary of the Bills. So Singletary's taken over here as the lead back for Buffalo. Was a committee for most of the season. They're still going to work some of these other guys in, Moss, Breida, but Singletary really taking control here and not priced like a workhorse back. So this is a great spot against this Jets team. We'll talk about them momentarily here. With 21 touches per game over the last 3 weeks, that's led to 19 Draftkings points a game over the last month. We know Buffalo, massive favorites here, a ton on the line. AFC East hangs in the balance here, and the Jets been easily the worst team in the league against the running back position. A whopping 26 touchdowns allowed already, allow the most fantasy points here as well. Big home favorite here. Love this spot for Devin Singletary this week against the New York Jets. All right, moving on to our next play at the wide receiver position. We're rolling with Tyler Lockett of the Seahawks. I don't think a lot of people are going to go here with Tyler Lockett. I think what you're going to see, DK Metcalf, people are going to want to go back to that coming off the big game. And I want to bounce to the other side here with Tyler Lockett. We know this is one of the better games on this slate. Highest total we have on the board, and Seattle 6.5 point underdogs across the board. So we know they're likely throwing a lot in this game, potentially playing from behind here against Arizona. What a good matchup for wide receivers. Arizona 6th most fantasy points allowed to this position. We narrow that window down to the last month. They've allowed the most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. So we know how this rolls with Seattle. It tends to bounce back and forth. I'm not saying DK can't have 2 good games in a row, but I want to go to Tyler Lockett, likely at a lot less ownership than teammate DK Metcalf. All right, let's stay in that same game. Go to the other side with tight end Zach Ertz of the Cardinals. Now, tight end, as it's been most of the season, kind of a dumpster fire here, but Zach Ertz looks like he's a little bit too cheap on both of these sites. So fits the bill for cash games, for tournaments. The targets have certainly been there, averaging 10 per game over the last 4. You're getting a solid floor with Zach Ertz as well, at least 5 catches and 40 yards in all 4 of those games as well. So the targets have been put to use here by Zach Ertz, in his best game of the season came against this very Seattle defense a few weeks ago. 8 catches, 88 yards, found the end zone twice, almost 30 Draftkings points in that game. Zach Ertz, simply too cheap here. Nice correlation here with Tyler Lockett, and likely it was the best game we have on this Week 18 slate. All right, let's move on to the quarterback position. A team with a lot at stake, the New Orleans Saints. We're rolling with Taysom Hill against the Atlanta Falcons. So New Orleans still alive in the playoff race. They need a win. They need a San Francisco loss. Both those teams play at the same time. The NFL's done a great job with the schedule here. So all out for the New Orleans Saints here. And what I love most about Taysom, he fits so many different builds. Cash games, tournaments, solid floor with his running ability. You combine that with the matchup here against Atlanta, and that's how we unlock a ceiling here. Atlanta, 3rd most fantasy points allowed to this position, but more importantly, 3rd most rushing yards allowed to the quarterback position. We know that's the name of the game here for Taysom Hill. So combine that upside with this matchup. Taysom Hill, easily my favorite quarterback play on this Week 18 slate. All right, back to the wide receiver position for our next play. We're going with Brandon Cooks of the Texans. So it's been a tough season here for Houston, no doubt, but one of the bright spots has certainly been Brandon Cooks, who continues to put numbers up week in and week out. Davis Mills showing that he potentially has what it takes to be the quarterback of the future here, but Cooks 10 or more targets in each of the last 3 games, averaging over 24 Draftkings points over that stretch. So you do simple math on that salary, we're talking about a 4x return on that number here. Tennessee, it's been a struggle. They've been better lately, but second most fantasy points allowed to this position. Tennessee, big 10-point favorites here. Houston, most likely playing from behind in this game. I'm expecting 10-plus targets here again from Brandon Cooks in a good matchup. No reason he shouldn't be in our daily fantasy lineups here on both Fanduel and Draftkings. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for Week 18. Before we do that, we want to continue our Beast of the Week contest. Free to play, easy to play, and a thank you to you guys for all the views, all the thumbs up, and for hanging out here in the fantasy bar. All you got to do, get in the comment section right below the video and guess fantasy points on FanDuel this week for my favorite play of the week. The closest guess going to win themselves a free month of RotoGrinders Premium, a chance to check everything out behind the scenes, everything we're always talking about here, Lineup HQ, Gridiron HQ, all under one umbrella there for you, and absolutely free to check out for a month. So without further ado, let's check out my favorite play for Week 18. You know, Matt's the Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time. We owe you one more running back. We're going to correlate with our Brandon Cooks play. We're going to go to D'Onta Foreman of the Titans, this week's Beast of the Week. Now, I know a lot of the hype this week is on Derrick Henry and his return for this Tennessee Titans team. We likely don't see Derrick Henry this week. In fact, I would be utterly surprised if he played. This is more of a return for the playoffs. That means we get one more week of Foreman here against his former team. So we get a little bit of narrative here as well. But this guy has been super productive. We know this offense loves to rely on the run. Touchdowns now in 3 of the last 4 games for Foreman. 20 touches in 3 of the last 5, including 26 touches last week. Tennessee, huge favorites, like we mentioned, with Brandon Cooks, the #1 seed in the AFC. On the line here, Tennessee wins. They lock that up. And Houston, been a disaster against running backs. 3rd most fantasy points allowed, and the 2nd most touchdowns, 18 on the season. Fits well with our Foreman play. I think he finds the end zone not only once, I think he does it twice here in this game. D'Onta Foreman, easily my favorite play on the board in this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that'll wrap us up for, again, a historic Week 18 here in the Fantasy Bar. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and the picks. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section right below the video. Don't forget, fantasy points for D'Onta Foreman on FanDuel for your shot at some RotoGrinders Premium. Don't forget to check out scoresandodds.com/beer. That link in the description of the video. And come play against Head Chopper, Notorious, and myself in our last week of our FanDuel OGs contest. Just a $7 buy-in. Find all the information at FanDuel.com/OG. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Best of luck here in Week 18. Make sure you're checking out that Yahoo video as well, and my Pints and Picks video for 2 of my favorite sports bets. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck this week, and we'll see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist